Hey everybody, welcome back to the next part of the Warhammer 40,000 Codex Chaos Space Marines review. Basically breaking down this. The first video was already 2 hours, so we're going to do this Legion by Legion sections of this massive codex. Yeah, there's a lot in here. So if you missed part one, go up in the cards, it should appear, and check out the core army list review. What we're gonna do now is jump in and do all of the individual legions because there are a lot of them. There's 6 actual legions, and then of course the Creations of Bile and the Red Corsairs. So these are basically almost like a whole other set of traits, a whole other set of stratagems, and a whole other set of relics for each of these legions. And it felt like you needed to kind of break them into pieces to do these reviews. So I'm going to jump in right now with the Black Legion. Of course, this is the big one. This is Abaddon's Legion, although he can basically fold in and out of the others freely at will. But this is the one where he is featured the most. Now, of course, I have gone through as well and compared all of what's in chapter approved Warzone Nephilim to what's in here. So, because it's weird, Warzone Nephilim says ignore your codex and don't use anything out of it, but these are actually reprints, all these secondaries of what's in this book. So if you're playing Chaos Space Marines and you have this book, you are an exemption from what's in here because you've just got it all reprinted and you can actually follow these rules. Now, of course, when a new mission pack comes out, it may replace these in the future, but for now, they've done a great job of just copy and pasting everything in here. So, the Black Legion, what do you get if you pick this Legion? Well, you're going to get a Legion trait, which is you are Black Crusaders. Each time a combat attrition test is made, you can roll the modifiers. And each time a model with this trait makes an attack, add one of the attack's hit roll if they're in basically close range. It's the closest eligible target to the unit attacking when you're selected to shoot, and the attack is a melee attack, and you made a charge move. So it's actually kind of a mimicry of the Sons of Horus rules from Horus Heresy. They're like special reactions, all about being close and getting bonuses, and they're like brawlers basically. So the Black Legion are still brawlers as well. And then your secondary that you get is Despoil Dominions. If you select this objective, Black Legion infantry and bikers can take the following action. Despoil Dominions. 1, a Black Legion infantry or Black Legion biker unit from your army can start to perform this action at the end of your movement phase if it's in range of objective marker that's not yet been despoiled. You can't do it if there's any enemy units excluding aircraft nearby. The action is complete at your next command phase. If they completed the objective marker is said to have been despoiled until the end of the battle, each time an enemy unit starts to perform an action while it's in range of that marker, roll a d6, and on a 4+ it fails. Because the Chaos Gods are protecting it, and every time a unit in your army completes it, you basically make a mark. If the objective marker that was despoiled by that action was wholly in your deployment zone, you get 1 VP, otherwise you get 4. So your home base one only gives you 1, but it also kind of protects your home base one because you have that 4+ to like break it again, or to do an action on it. And then the neutral and of course anyone's are worth 4. So again, it might be conditional to the idea that there's lots of objectives on the table because you're not going to get to 15 obviously unless there's at least 4 objectives. Even then, so you get to 13 if one's in your home base. If there's 5, you'll probably get to the full amount potentially. And then we have Warlord Traits. You get a full 6, not just like a little few here. So Veteran Raider is the first one. In your command phase, you can select 1 friendly Black Legion Corps or character unit from your army within 6 of this Warlord. Until the end of the turn, they can shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. Now that's a really cool one. Unfortunately, Abaddon doesn't have that one, but it is super handy. So, although Abaddon does have quite a few, they're actually in the core stratagem section, which is a whole other part. Here, it should say, or Warlord Traits rather, it should say which ones he has, and I believe it's... There's so much in this book, it's ridiculous. Nope, those are disciplines. Those are prayers of the dead guys. Here we go, Warlord Traits. He has Eternal Vendetta, Paragon of Hatred, and Merciless Overseer. So he has this one and this one. So you get Indomitable, have the damage characteristic of attacks allocated to the Warlord. That's a super handy one for staying alive. Merciless Overseer, this is one of the ones Abaddon has. In your command phase, you can select 1 friendly Black Legion unit within 6 of the Warlord. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the enemy is engaged in either wanton destruction or wanton slaughter. They can be considered to be in wanton massacre. So basically, you can dial it back to massacre, and massacre gives you... I can't remember which phase each one is. It's always exploding 6s, but massacre is rapid fire assault or pistol weapons. So you can dial back destruction and slaughter to massacre. So it means first turn you could start in massacre, and then which doesn't make a ton of sense because you can do rapid fire weapons anyway, but also heavy weapons. This one would give you assault weapons and pistol weapons, I guess. It means you can kind of dial to where you want to be if it's more handy for that unit. Soul Eater. Each time a Warlord makes a melee attack, you can reroll the wound roll. That's super handy for certain demon weapons. And then each time this Warlord fights, after it's finished making its attacks, if one or more enemy models were destroyed by those attacks, the Warlord gets D3 wounds back. That would be really handy for, let's say, where is he? The guy on the fast melee-oriented Lord Discordant. So he has a gun, but his melee attacks are pretty decent with his Impaler Chainglaive, right? He's got he's got 6, strength 6, but he gets +1 to wound. Impaler Chainglaive attacks at -3/2 damage. So he gets to reroll all those field rolls to wound at strength 6. But then adding +1 to wound roll and -3/2 damage, and then he'd heal D3 if he killed anybody. So that 9 wounds would go a long way with that built-in healing, because he doesn't, I don't think, have a invulnerable save. No, he doesn't. He's just a dude with a 2+ save. So pray at him and give him an invulnerable save, and then let him. Or no, he is a demon. Never mind. He's got a 5+ invulnerable save. He's a demon engine. Sorry. I forgot, he himself doesn't. The thing he's riding gives him an invulnerable save, and it's one of the key traits on data sheets. Demon Engine. 5+ invul, and gets a wound back every turn anyway, so that would be super handy. And then you could give him the demon weapon that does mortal wounds, which would be even cooler. So then you got Trusted War Leader. While this Warlord's on the battlefield, each time you spend a command point, you can get a refund on a 5+. And Paragon of Hatred is the other one that's as if Abaddon needed more rules. You can reroll charge rolls for the Warlord, and every time this Warlord fights, if it's in engagement range of the enemy, until the fight's resolved, add 1 to the attack characteristic of this Warlord, and if it's engaged with Imperium, add D3. So, no big deal, just, getting D3 extra attacks against Space Marines from Abaddon, who starts off with 8 attacks. I'll take D3 extra, Talon of Horn attacks, or Talon of Horse attacks, so that I can have 22 attacks with my Lightning Claw at strength 6. Could you imagine? He'll walk into a thing, it's -4/1 damage, but he makes 2 hit rolls for each one, and just goes in and does 22 attacks. Yeah, why not? It's no big deal. So those are your Warlord traits. So I like this one because it's about button pushing, but it's a push-pull, right? You can't just snipe your home base objective. There's lots of missions in Nephilim that have more than one objective. I actually really like the Cleanse one. Playing Cleanse, where you've got 4 table quarters, you could just walk into another table quarter and do the button. So if you're playing, for instance, look at this one, Conversion. It's a Strike Force mission. You're basically just pushing buttons in these 4 quarters. Super easy to do. So Despoil Dominion, and that means that because the whole quarter is considered to be an objective, it means that there's objectives there and there. My bad. These 4 quarters are considered to be objectives. It means that you're really within striking distance. So you have to walk 6 inches to get on that one. Or no, wait, it's 3-inch objectives. What am I talking about? This is an AOS. You have to walk 9 inches to get on each of these because they're in the center of the zones, and there's one in the middle. So this is perfect because your home base one's worth 1, and then you've got 4, 8, 12, 16 left on the table. So even if you just get the 3 neutral ones, and then this one right here, you're going to 13. There's lots of 5, all of these, Death and Zeal. Look at how many of them have 5 objectives. This one has 6 objectives. That one actually would be super easy right there, because you got 4 objectives in No Man's Land to try and grab, plus your home base one. So I feel like Despoil Dominions is really handy, because it also creates that push for your opponent, if he's within range of it, to have to roll 4+ to do any of his actions. And there's only, 6 Strike Force missions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, wait, there's 7, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, 9. That's right. It's 6. It's less of the other one. There's 9 Strike Force missions. So none of them only have 4 objectives, which means you've got potential scoring all over the place. And there's lots of quarter deployment, which makes them easy to run it and grab. All right, so Stratagems. You've got some bespoke ones. I'm going to say bespoke so many times during this review. If I don't, just stop myself. So the first one, Bringers of Despair. It's 2 CPs. Use a stratagem at the start of your opponent's fight phase. Select 1 Black Legion Chaos Terminator squad within 3 of 1 or more enemy units. That unit's eligible to fight and fights first this phase. Until the end of the phase, add 1 of the attack characteristic models in that unit. So you're basically able to pick up a Terminator squad, and if they've been charged, be like, no, we get the charge bonus too. So they'd go into the back and forth of fighting first. Or if it's second round, have them go first, and they all get +1 attacks. And your Terminators are no joke. 3 wounds each, and they're not super expensive. I have a Terminator squad I'm really excited to paint. I mean, I'm not going to be playing Black Legion, I'm playing Iron Warriors, but still. What's the cost on Terminators now? 33 points each. Base. And you can kit them out with Chain Fists, Combi Flamers, Combi Meltas, Combi Plasmas, Heavy Flamers, Power Fists, Reaper Autocannon. They don't get a good heavy weapon option, obviously, because they're an old school Terminator squad, but you can make a melee squad that's pretty punchy. Tip of the Spear. So 2 CPs, use a stratagem in the start of your charge phase. That Tip of the Spear, of course, is a throwback again to the Sons of Horus. Using your charge phase, if no Black Legion units from your army are within engagement range of the enemy, select Black Legion Core, Demonkin, or character unit from your army until the end of the turn. You can reroll charge rolls for that unit, and each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against an enemy that's in range of an objective marker, or in your opponent's deployment zone, their AP goes up by 1. So you get like a shock assault, basically. It's spendy still on 2 CPs, but it could be useful for like taking back an objective or a zone. Hatred Unbound, this is an epic deed. Use a stratagem in your command phase of a Black Legion Warlord from your army is in the battlefield, and the army is engaged in either Wanton Destruction, Wanton Massacre, or Wanton Slaughter. Select 1 Black Legion Core unit within 18 of your Warlord. Until the start of the command phase, the unit's considered to be engaged in all of them. So any weapons they fire basically explode on 6s, and their melee attacks. Lord of the Ezzakarian, use stratagem in, after nominating a Black Legion character model, excluding named characters and daemon units, to be your Warlord. Generate 1 additional Black Legion Warlord trait for that character model. Each Warlord trait for your army must be unique if randomly generated reroll duplicates, and you use this stratagem once. So that's pretty cool, and it's a Black Legion Warlord trait. So you could go like Soul Eater and Indomitable. So have damage against them, reroll wounds, and get D3 wounds back if one or more enemy models are destroyed. That's pretty rad. Or if you wanted to get technical, you go Veteran Overseer, or Veteran Raider and Merciless Overseer. But I feel like that one's definitely worth it. Indomitable and Soul Eater is going to make for a very, very tough Warlord. Like you could stack those two. Again, on that, like I like mobility on like fighting characters. That's why I really like that the guy on the bug, and because he's got 9 wounds and he's a character now, he can hide near units, which is cool. So the Lord Discordant, he's basically become like an unshootable until he gets into combat because he's next to a unit. He halves damage against him with his 9 wounds, and he gets wounds back, and he rerolls all his rolls to wound now. That was pretty good, 2+, and then just give him a demon weapon, have him go to town. Give him that 2 additional mortal wounds on 6s to hit, and make his, I don't know, I guess you make his Impaler Chainglaive one. Or you could give him one of the core, they don't have to be Black Legions, the extra one has to be Black Legion, so you could do Indomitable or Soul Eater as the extra one, and then take a Warlord trait from like the core Warlord traits, for instance. Like, if you like having a 4+ invulnerable save, and when you make an attack, you always have exploding 6s, and then give him that demon weapon too. Although you can only pick 1 trigger for the 6s. You could do, that one's already reroll wounds, and this one is each time a wound makes an attack, and a modified wound roll of 6, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition. So you could just do Flames of Spite, reroll the wound roll, and then take the no damage. Because he already has the built-in heals a wound every command phase. So you go half damage, reroll wounds, and 6+ exploding mortal wounds. You make a pretty good fighter that way. And then you got Confluence of Traitors. Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Black Legion Heretic Astartes unit from your army, then select 1 Legion trait. Until the start of your next command phase, models not Legion have a Legion trait. You can only use a stratagem once. So that's pretty cool. You could pull out a Legion trait from all the following legions. And that's some examples of that, like Profane Zeal, a Mortal Wound 5+ Shrug. Each time this model makes a move, model makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, you can reroll the hit roll. So take a unit and get them reroll hits on the charge and a 5+ Mortal Wound Shrug. That's pretty nice with Profane Zeal. You can do the Terror Tactics ability. While enemy units are within 9, they're -2 leadership and -1 to combat attrition tests. And each time a model in this trait makes a melee weapon attack, the target's unit below half strength. When the attacking unit is selected to fight, or if the attack targets unit that has a leadership of 5 or less, add 1 to the wound roll because they're terror, like monsters. Iron Warriors, each time a target makes an attack, you don't get cover. And each time an attack is allocated to this model, if it's AP -1 or -2, the AP is changed to worsened by 1. So it goes to 0 or -1. So do Iron within Iron with on your Terminator or something like that. It's a neat CP. Only goes for 1 command phase, though, until your next command phase, though. Unrelenting Onslaught, 2 CPs. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when you select a Black Legion unit from your army to move until the start of your next movement phase. Ignore any modifiers to its move characteristic, advance and charge rolls, and you can shoot and charge even if you fall back. So Unrelenting Onslaught's available basically if you didn't take that Merciless Overseer. Not a Merciless Overseer, a Veteran Raider. So it costs you CPs, but you can just do it for 2 CPs. Vengeful Skies. Use a stratagem in your command phase. If any Black Legion character model from your army is on the battlefield, select one point in the battlefield and place a marker on that point. At the start of your next command phase, place another marker within 12 inches of the center of that marker and draw a straight line. Roll 1d6 for each unit that line would pass over, adding 1 to the unit being rolled for if it's 11 models and subtracting 1 if it's a character. On a 3+ take D3 mortal wounds. So basically your warships like do like a burst down from the heavens. And then Heralds of Doom. Use a stratagem in your command phase, select 1 Black Legion Legionnaires unit from your army that's on the battlefield until the start of your next command phase. That unit has the following ability, Herald of Doom. 1 enemy units with the OBSEC abilities within 6, they lose the ability. So you can turn off OBSEC for 2 CPs for Legionnaires. Just your troop choices that do it, though. And then they trump, obviously, because they are OBSEC. So 1 Legionnaire standing next to 200 Guardsmen on an objective. If he survives to the end of the round, you spend 2 CPs. And at the start of the command phase, he just trumps everybody because he's just standing there beating the Doom drum. All right, you got a bunch of relics too. So Gorvarex's Teeth, it's for a chainsword. And it's melee strength user -3 and damage 2, and you get 3 extra attacks with that weapon. It's a badass chainsword. And remember, a bunch of your abilities let you reroll wound rolls too. So like you can take that chainsword, get 3 extra attacks, and then use the exploding mortal wounds, right? Reroll wounds and exploding mortal wounds. Loyalty's rewards, model with bolt weapon only. Select 1 bolt weapon the bearer has. The weapon is now a relic for all rules purposes. Each time the bearer makes an attack with that, if it attacks a Imperium keyword and the hit scored, target suffers a mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. So basically, you shoot something with a bolt weapon and it hits, they do mortal wounds. So it's just mortal wounds against loyalists. And it's a bolt gun from the Siege of Terra. So you give that to somebody with, I don't know, what's a very high rate of fire bolt weapon, like a Stormbolter even, because it's rapid fire 2, you get 4 shots, hitting on 2s in short range, and just be like, 4 mortal wounds, 4 mortal wounds, 4 mortal wounds, 4 mortal wounds. Yeah, because you can just take a combi bolter, rapid fire 2, and lay the absolute smackdown on somebody standing still. Or if you're in Terminator armor, just always be standing still and do 4 mortal wounds to somebody. Loyalty's reward's a great weapon. But each time the bearer makes an attack with a weapon, if the target does not have the Imperium keyword and the attack successfully wounds, the target suffers mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. So basically, if you hit against Imperium, it's a mortal wound. If you just wound on the other ones, it's a mortal wound. So it's still good. Veilbreaker Plate for Terminators. Each time attack is allocated against the bearer, worsen its AP by 1. And once per battle in your movement phase, if the bearer did not arrive as reinforcements this turn, it can use the relic. If it does so, the bearer and up to 1 friendly Black Legion core unit within 3 are taken away from the battlefield and set up anywhere within, not within 9 of the enemy. If 2 units are set up on the battlefield using this relic, both units must be placed wholly within 6 of each other. So basically you can bamf out with your Terminator armor a unit and stick them anywhere else you want. You have like a teleport homer. Cloak of the Conquest, you get the following ability. It's an aura. While a friendly Black Legion core characters within 6, you have OBSEC. Just give out OBSEC if they're near you. The Sightless Helm, you can give this relic to cultist models. Each time a bearer makes an attack, you can ignore all hit, roll, wound, weapon skill, and ballistic skill modifiers. Each time the bearer makes an attack, improve the armor penetration by 1. Each time the bearer makes an attack, you don't get cover. The Trophies of Slaughter, add 3 to the range of the bearer's abilities, up to a maximum of 9, so all your auras, but doesn't increase psychic power ones. And the bearer has the following ability, Trophies of Slaughter. While enemy units are within 9 of the bearer, combat attrition, subtract 1 from combat attrition tests taken for that enemy unit. And then Wrath the Abyss, it's a Thunder Hammer. It's ×2 -3, 3 damage. So just meat and potatoes, no -1 to hit, 3 damage Thunder Hammer, that's ×2 -3. Legit. And that's it for the Black Legion. So you see a lot of Legionnaire and Terminator buffs, lots of cool combos potentially for the characters. Terminators are still pretty great. They've got an extra wound down, an extra attack base, and leadership 9. And they're cursed weapons. You just get an extra attack. It's kind of a power weapon, but it's +1 strength, AP -3, and 1 damage. So lots of fun stuff. You get Warp Strike for Deep Strike, Malicious Volleys, which means you're always standing still, so you're always firing 4 shots of your Combi Bolter. And Let the Galaxy Burn, which means you can have marks. And they're core, right? So they're sort of like able to use all the core abilities. So I don't know. I'm excited about them. They do have some great hero combos. They don't lean particularly into any one thing, but if you want a default sort of like Legion, that's also going to give you the ability to play the core missions of the game and, you know, mess with objectives secured and be able to take the zones. I feel like the Black Legion is the kind of poster child here. And obviously with Abaddon having been like just jacked right up, because he has all 4 marks, so he always fights first. He's -1 to wound. He's +1 on the charge because of the corn mark. Yeah, it's bonkers. And the first time you shoot him, it's damage 0. So if you hit him with a giant weapon, it just goes to damage 0. Or first time he fails an armor save. Yeah, he's well worth taking. And he's not crazy expensive either, right? He's just 300 points. 300 points in a 2,000 point game is not that much. That's, what are we looking at here? 15% of your army into one absolutely unkillable guy that can hide in your units and has all the marks. So, yeah. Pretty rad. 4+ invul, can only take 3 wins per phase, +1 charge for a core unit, and reroll hit rolls of 1. Black Legion units, you just pick 1 to reroll everything, and if it's Black Legion, reroll the wounds too. And he just kills. Like, Draconian's insane. +3, -4, 3 damage. And if you do a wound roll of 6, you do D3 more wounds in addition to normal damage. And he's got 2 different marks too. So you can also take Harkon World Claimer. He's the other Black Legion character in here, which is kind of cool. Not the best model ever. His Hellspear's got like a neat like draw a line thing, which is kind of like that whatchamacallit, the laser stratagem that you can do. And then the double Warlord Trait thing's pretty awesome as well. And with, you know, in a Strike Force game, you're probably gonna have 3 HQs. Abaddon, I don't know if I'd take Harkon. You can only take 2 Chaos Lords typically, or 1 Chaos Lord typically. So you got Abaddon probably over Harkon, and then you grab, let's say, a Demon Prince, and maybe a Master Possession for your Demon Engines. But I also really like the Lord Discordant. I feel like he's got tons of legs because he's on a giant beetle bug thing. And has like that built-in healing and movement to get him where he wants to go. He's just a good, like, I feel like he'd be like a really good like pick off the guy on the far objective, runs out on a flank with something fast. So you stick him in with like a fast moving unit or even like a big fat unit of cultists. Actually, the Cursed Cultists are pretty cool. They're fast, the models aren't it yet, but you have like a 6-inch move. So you just run after them and they get guys back every turn. Three models come back every turn, so they're just a great meat shield to keep him safe now that he's you know, super, what's the term? Hideable with his 9 wounds, not being a vehicle. And no degrading stat line. Or just Chaos Terminators, you know? Just have Terminators deep strike down somewhere turn 2 and then break him off the second turn and run over to them. And then they hold the zone instead, being core and whatnot. Or just have him be next to a pack of Venom Crawlers, because they're also super cheap and kind of great. And I like the Venom Crawler a lot. So lots of cool options. Obviously, the Black Legion being sort of the play the objective game, they're gonna be really popular. But let's check out the next one, which is going to be the Word Bears. So thanks for watching. We'll see you for the next review of the Chaos Codex. Till I'm Ash. Hey there! I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.